So there's been a lot of issues around waterlogged soils this year, which are presenting as hard, crusted, low structure soils that just really high soil strength and are going to be really hard to deal with at sowing. So some of the things we need to think about with that are how we can support those soils from a structural perspective and also from a nutrition perspective as well. So first of all, to increase soil structure, we're going to actually have to need to break them up. So that hard layer we have, that cement layer, is actually going to need to be busted up by whatever mechanical means possible, preferably something that actually supports good seed bed at the end of the day. Because if we don't have good seed soil contact, then we're not going to be able to grow this year's crop well. So options are several, but considering that that layer is really quite shallow generally, we're not looking at really big cultivation need. So even anything from a Kelly chain to a speed tiller kind of approach would help. In terms of our stubble, ideally we'd be looking to maintain some organic matter into that system as we do that incorporation, but understanding that a lot of our paddocks are in quite bad condition at the moment, with a lot of weed issues over summer and disease last year. Burning is likely to be a bit more common this year than we'd prefer, but it's really the case that we need to just do what's possible to reset our systems. So once we've got some soil structure back in play, ideally a low rate of gypsum would also help in supporting soil structure on the surface and ensuring that infiltration and crusting aren't limiters in that early seeding environment. So once that's sorted, then think about the nutrition. So if we are in a compromised position structurally, in addition to the fact that we've had really big crops in the last few years, what we're seeing is that generally fertility is low. So phosphorus levels have generally been lower than we'd like. Sulfur levels have been really low in the surface, and even in some instances nitrogen hasn't been mineralised to the extent that we would expect this time of year, predominantly because in our concreted waterlogged soils that water and oxygen hasn't been getting through to start that mineralisation process. So just a few things to consider. Basically we're starting the season with a really good soil moisture content at depth. We've got some constraints starting up in terms of physical and fertility. If we can just plan to address those pre-sowing, it'll help our seeding operation go smoother, less chance of fracturing and issues at seeding, and fingers crossed we actually get quite a nice season coming through.